All right, I'm live here. It is now September 1st. September 26th is the race, Ironman Chattanooga, and I will be doing that. Um, Today I want to just talk about, because I'm in the big volume stage of Ironman, and there's always something that seems to happen every time I get into these big blocks, and I call it, I've always called it, sort of breaks up the rocks inside of me, and it reminds me of things that are important and things that aren't important. And I get really, I guess, a little testy or a little impatient with things at this time. I don't have time for bullshit or as much time for it. And I start thinking about it like, man, it's time to just let that go and get things out of my life. And it's pretty hard, because it's very emotional at times when when you're out there training alone by yourself and you're doing a lot of miles, and like the other day running for 2 hours, or last night just on the trainer for an hour in the darkness of the hub downstairs. And it's always interesting because I think that doing hard things really makes you focus your energy on those things, and it kind of lets other things fall away, and the worries and little things like I don't know, like paying bills or whatever, or just like the cycles of thought that go through your head, and it sort of makes you prioritize things. And I think that that's the idea with staying busy in general, is that hopefully we can find ways to stay busy with things we enjoy and that we're passionate about, because then all of a sudden maybe bad habits start drifting away, or we get to a point where we really understand what's more important. I'm always kind of reminded of like a story. When I first started doing this, I did this race with my first Ironman with 4 other guys, and we were all going through a lot. And at the time, that's when I met Coach Robbie, and he was coaching me and the other guys. And we went through all this stuff, and like all 5 of us went through these huge transformations during Ironman, but we didn't even know it. I mean, it was just sort of like we just kept grinding and kept going and pushing through things, and you're so mired in the process that you don't even realize what's going on, I think, a lot of times. And like I think back to that, and it's like I ended up I hated my job at the time, and I ended up like a year later quitting it. It's sort of this that's why I call it breaking up the rocks, because I think it sort of like starts freeing up things and making room for what's important in your life, and you kind of want to push through to that. And so I quit my job not right after, but like the next year after Ironman. It took me, I wanted to quit it for like 4 or 5 years. And finally, I feel like going through this and pushing to do an Ironman, and the strength it takes to do that gave me more strength to actually walk away from my job at some point. And another one of the guys, Mark, he ended up he was starting a business at the time, and then ended up within like a 6-month span of Ironman, his business just blew up, and now it's a huge business. And I really think it gave him a lot of confidence to do that. And one of the guys ended up getting married, and he was like always out drinking and doing crazy stuff all the time, and definitely like sort of a bachelor on the run. And he ended up getting married shortly after that Ironman. One of the guys was in a bad marriage, and he ended up getting divorced. And then we had the 5th guy. He ended up coming out gay, and we had, we suspected maybe a lot of this stuff was going on, but it was interesting to see how all that stuff developed. So that's why I like to, it's really a humbling time when you're in this big volume phase and you're doing 15, 16 hours a week of training. And I think a big part of it is because you're out there alone a lot, and you get time to, really think things through and figure out what's important to you. And that's sort of what's been going on right now with me again. It's like I put these things on the calendar, like I think it's important to do hard things. And I think that's the reason why, because it makes other things that are difficult easy. And, I think back to like that. That's just sort of how I've done my life, where it's easy to walk away, or it's easy to hide inside, or it's easy to, metaphorically put on a mask in life, but it's real hard to go out there and push through things that are difficult. I always wanted to be a drummer back in the day, and I was super scared of it because I never had like a musical training or anything like that. But I started playing, and I remember the first night I ever played was like probably the scariest thing I've ever done on stage. It was super embarrassing and everything like that. But thankfully, somebody came up to me afterwards and said, that wasn't the best, but I've heard worse. And it was kind of all I needed to keep going, and I think that's why. That's what I try to do too as a coach, is like, I know everyone's at a different place and we're all trying to push through things together. And I really want to be supportive. I was telling another athlete this morning that I'm really aware of my humanness and my flaws and things like that. So I'm patient and want to encourage people to get through certain phases that are tough. And there's really no easy phase with Ironman training. I mean, you can neglect it all you want, but it's just sitting out there waiting on that day. And most people, I'm sure, they can say they don't think about it, but it's always out there. And it's sort of like this one day. We talk about like training your whole life for the Olympics or something like this is our mini Olympics. It's like that one day that, everybody wants to shine on and do the best they can and hopefully show the work that they've been doing, because we all have glimpses of great moments in our training and things like that. We always have terrible moments in our training, but it's important to kind of keep pushing through and just believe in it and not put a lot of pressure on it, even though it's difficult. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to take it day by day. And with me, I'm not an early riser. I kind of like try to ramp it into that a little bit earlier and a little bit earlier, because I think, waking up on Ironman race day and it's like, 3:30 in the morning or whatever, and I want to at least be used to that, at least be getting to bed earlier and sleeping better. But for me, my training kind of comes to me when it comes to me, and I don't like. I'm not a big fan of scheduling early morning workouts, and because I'm a little slower to get going, but I just do things when they feel good. I know I have a luxury, and a lot of people don't, but there's times, like when I was working full time and I had a lot more going on, actually, like regimentedly, I had to be, corporate world, I had to be in the morning, and I found a really good groove of swimming at lunch. I'd give up the, hey, we're all going to lunch thing. And I just went over and swam, and it was just like really nice to be able to knock that out over lunch. And it helped me feel good and felt better going through the afternoon and things like that. So that's where I'm at. I'm knocking out a bunch of rocks. We're going to see what happens here, but it's kind of a humbling feeling, really, in the sense that I'm just kind of getting at that point where I'm grateful that I feel good. And especially after some of these big workouts, and it's kind of amazing that you can just get up and walk around and not be sore. So I guess I look for little things, and there's no doubt that I feel better, but you know how that thing is. It's sort of like you're feeling good, you're going the right direction, and a lot of the stuff that used to tug at you, the bad habits, is just kind of like annoying you. It's kind of like that the devil and the angel kind of thing, where it's like, come on, where are you going? It's trying to pull you back, and you just kind of got to let it go. And I think it's a really good exercise to think about. But so I know a lot of you guys go through it. And I just wanted to, at least articulate a little bit about how I feel about that, whether it's training for your first Olympic or sprint or any of that kind of stuff. It's all relative to where you're at in your life. And I just want to hey, Lisa, how are you? Appreciate that. Hope you're doing good. And I'm going to go down now. We got a hub visit, so I'm going to go down and talk to a gentleman about his biking and his running, and we're going to go from there. But I'm going to keep doing it. I'll be back later. I appreciate you joining me. And these will always be in the online hub. If you got any questions, you can always email me. I'm here. All right. I hope you guys are doing good. Thanks.